There we go. Alright, usually I'm done by the 2-minute mark. But today I am a little bit slow. Alright, there we go. Let's jump straight into things. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. So yeah, we are going to go CD, sites, NearBeach. We can go get status. We'll get branch, make sure we're on the, get pull. Make sure we've got all the data we need. And then get flow, start feature, and I'm just gonna say API. Oh wait, get flow. Hang on a minute. There we go. All right, cool. Tonight we want to play around with the REST framework. I just want to see how it works and if we could potentially utilize it within NearBeach to make things a lot easier for us as we're trying to open up an API and all that kind of information. So yeah, I might as well play around with it. So recently I learned on a German quiz show that the animal that causes the most deaths in Australia is in fact the horse and not any of your crazy spiders or snakes. Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, sharks, very little. Snake bites, usually, I've only known 2 people who've ever been bitten by a snake. One of them didn't know they were bitten, but luckily there wasn't enough poison or anything like that to cause a problem. Excluding a couple of days later where they did actually have to visit the doctor with some skin issues around the bite zone. And yeah, the other one was fine. Got flown to hospital, given an antivenom, perfectly fine. So yeah, I've only known 2 people with snake bites. The redback spiders aren't as bad as they used to be. There are some big spiders here, like huntsmans, but they tend not to bite, and then tend not to be venomous. Trying to think what else. There's crocodiles and alligators, but they're all... I keep forgetting which one's which. Crocodiles or alligators, I should say, but they're north. They're not down here. They're not where the major population is. I can see it being horses or something like that. Yeah. Let's have a look. Australia's most killer animal. All right. Yes, the box jellyfish, which you definitely got to be careful about. The honeybee. All right, people who have allergies. Yes. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I just find it really funny. So you got to be careful of these guys. And anything... the blue bell... A blue bottle. If you ever see these guys, never pick them up. And don't step on them. The bull shark, Australia's most dangerous animals. Looks pretty, yes, but it's pretty dangerous. But yeah, the honeybee. All right, yeah. Understandable because there's a lot of people who are allergic to them. The Sydney funnel web spider. Oh yes, I forgot about these guys. The blue ring octopus. Yep, forgot about those guys. I don't know my snakes enough. I know tiger snake, tiger shark. Yeah, tiger snake. So yeah. Animals' deaths between 2000 found horses were responsible for more human fatalities than other animals in Australia. Alright, there we go. I'll go on to ad time because we are on ad time. There's a little did you know fact. And I can kind of see it. Yeah. Bit depressing because I'm just seeing what most fellow were caused by rider falling from animal. There it is. All right. Okay. So that's it. Yeah, we're taught pretty young here about snakes and stuff like that and what not to do, and essentially you just leave them be. If they're not in an aggressive mode, like I've seen snakes in the wild. So when I was a kid, I was going through and there was a plastic bottle but something around it. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And it was a snake. But because it wasn't aggregated, you know, angry or anything like that, it was just there. I just like, all right, cool, and walked off in the other direction. So yeah, it's what we're taught. But yeah, I've only ever had 2 friends bitten by a snake. Oh, 2 people I've known. One was a friend, one was someone I worked with. Plenty of spider bites, but mostly from the little tiny ones. Nothing serious. Yeah. Alright. A little bit of trivia there. So we're going to play around with the Django REST framework today, and we're going to see what it can do, what it can't do, and so forth like that. We're just going to play around with it. Nothing fancy. And don't forget to drop an... Oh, Ivanhoe with an 80.35. Nice. I am going to drop Shocked Max. There he goes. Alright, so installation is pretty easy. We just need the Markdown support for the browsable API. Oh, filtering support. Okay. Didn't realize that we need all of that, but that's fine. Once again, we're just playing around with it. Oh, before I do that, alright, cool, easy done. Markdown and Django filter. A new release of pip is available. Pip install upgrade. Pip, easy done. We should always be upgrading. So the first thing we need to do is in installed apps, put it in. So we just need REST framework in installed apps. So I'm going to minimize everything. I'm going to open up this. I'm going to open up the local. I'm going to open up this. We have the installed apps right here. So we've got the Django NearBeach config. I'm going to put it on after, and it's going to be Django REST, like so. REST framework, sorry. Easy done. If you're intending to use the browsable API, you probably also want the REST framework's login and log out views and follow you. All right, cool. For today, we're just going to use this. In the future, we'll see what happens if we just remove it and not use it at all. So we're going to place it into here and just put it in like this. We always like a comma after our thing. Let's take a look at a quick example of using the REST framework to build a simple model-backed API. We can create a rewrite API for accessing information on the users of our project. Any global settings for the REST API are kept in a single configuration dictionary named REST framework. Start off by adding the following to your settings module: default permission classes, REST framework permissions, Django permissions, Django model permissions, or anon read only. Oh, we don't want read only. So I'm just gonna leave that one out at the moment. I'm just gonna go into our tutorial. We should also, it's gonna run this. I should also do Python manage migrate. Nothing to migrate. All right, cool. So there's nothing to migrate for them. So I'm going to go localhost. What was that URL? That was API auth. API. Oh yeah. It's meant to be like that. Okay. It's right there. API auth. Alright, no problem. So project setup, serializations. Alright, cool. That's just adding in particular fields. I'm just going to go... Alright, serializations. So introduction. This tutorial will cover a simple pastebin code highlighter web API. Along the way, it'll introduce various components that make up the REST framework and give you a comprehensive understanding of how everything fits together. The tutorial is fairly in-depth, so you should probably get a cookie and a cup of your favorite brew before you start. Alright, I have run out of tea. Next ad break though. If you just want a quick overview, you should head over to the quick start documentation instead. Alright, cool. Let's just do this anyway. So Python 3 source. Yep, so we're activating it. We've installed those apart from that one. All right, we'll do that for code highlighting. All right, it's already satisfied. CD start. Yep. All right, cool. Python manage startup. Yep. Install that. Yep. So, for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm just wondering if I should just create a new project and then go through this. No, we're just going to have a look. We can apply this to NearBeach. For the purpose of the tutorial, we're going to start by creating a simple snippet model that is used to store code snippets. Go ahead and edit the snippets model. Yeah, all right, cool. So we go ahead. And someone edits this and puts stuff in like this and all that kind of stuff. So we're quite happy with that. Lex is A. Language choices A. Language choices is there. Style choices is there. Okay, cool. So, the first thing we need to get started on a web API is to provide a way of serializing and deserializing the snippet instance into representations such as JSON. We can do this by declaring serializers that work similar to the Django forms, creating a file in the snippets directory. All right, cool. Serializers.py. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to paste something similar. We're actually going to copy this, use it for reference. What we're going to do is from NearBeach.models import, let's say project. Easy. Maybe task. Okay. So we're happy with that. They've got a class called serializers. I am just going to go like this. And I'm going to move that all the way up there. Okay, we'll fix this up in a second. So what we want to do, class project serializers. It's so weird typing serializers with a Z. Serializers. What I'll do, bang, bang, that should help. Okay, so what we've got is we've got all of this particular fields. So those are the fields. So we've got to create and return a snippet instance. All right, so this looks like okay, and then we got update. So update, instant title, validated data. Okay. We're not going to do much here. We're just going to include just two fields. So we're going to go with, I keep forgetting if it's project title. We'll just, and hey, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. We are playing with, I'm just going to delete all that. We're just, playing with Django REST framework. So yeah, how have you been doing? So I want serializers dot integer field read only is true, and then we've got title equals serializers dot character field required equals true. So this is very similar to the form. Allow blank false. And max length, I'm going to say 255. I think it's 255. We put it at. We then had a def create self and validated data. And then return project.object.create. And then it'll be validated data like so. Whoops. Def update self instance validated data, and then instance dot title equals validated data dot get title instance dot title. All right, cool. So it's kind of like that we're doing. The first part of the serializer class defines the fields that get serialized slash deserialized, which, yep, alright, okay, cool, makes sense. The create slash update methods define how fully fledged instances are created or modified when calling serializer.save. Alright, sweet. A serializer class is very similar to Django form class and includes similar validation flags on the various fields such as require max. Alright, cool. So we're not relearning a bunch of different stuff here, which is nice. The field flags can also control how the serializers should be displayed in certain circumstances, such as when rendering to HTML. Base template flag is equivalent to widgets equals widgets.text area. All right, cool. Easy done. Oops, I keep dropping that pen. Oh, I got another one here. All right, so the field flags can also control how the serializers should be displayed in certain circumstances, such as when rendering to HTML. Oh yeah, I've just read that part. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is just me being tired. We can actually also save ourselves some time by using the model serializer class, as we'll see later. But for now, we'll keep our serializer definition explicit. All right, cool. So, working with serializers. Before we go any further, we familiarize ourselves with using our new serializer class. Let's drop into a Django shell. Once we've got a few imports on the way, let's create a couple of code snippets to work with. All right, cool. Okay. All right, let's go Python manage shell. Hang on. Oh, it's Control L. There we go. Remember that one. So we're jumping in. So what we want is from NearBeach. .models, import everything. Cool. Easy done. I'm gonna actually no. Let's just. And then from snippet so from NearBeach serializers, import everything. All right, cool. REST framework. All right, we'll. Cool. Now. We've got those two little bits of code. What we'll do is we'll just go now. They've got it so it's like snippet equals R capital. All right. Oh, they're just creating it anyway. That's fine. No, we don't need to do that. Yeah, no, I don't mind Django. So, if you've ever used Laravel, Laravel, it's very similar because it's a model view controller. However, I like to say Laravel is a manual car, Django is an automatic car, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just, yeah, Django handles quite a lot of things automatically, whereas Laravel, you gotta handle that yourself. So a good example would be the migrations. But otherwise, yeah, no, I really enjoy Django. So yeah. So okay, so if I go a equals project objects dot get pk equals 1, we've got something like that. And then if I go and go serializer, so s equals, and then we've got snippet serializer. So in our sort of case, it'll be project serializer. And then I pass through A. No, I didn't like it. Project object has no attribute title. Yeah, all right, cool. So I've screwed that up. So in here, it'll be, let's have a look, because my brain is shot at the moment. I only got a couple of hours sleep last night. That's the end of the day. I'm just like, oh my god. Project name. That will be project ID. Alright, so I'll just update that like that. It won't work. There we go. Oh. So, title should no longer be in here. So what I'm going to do okay. If we just type S, all right, yeah, we got the serializers. All right, cool. I think I mucked up. So from NearBeach.serializers import everything. All right, from NearBeach.models import everything, and then we need the this one and this one. And then what I want to do, let's say A equals project.objects.get pk equals 1. All right, easy done. And then I want B equals the project serializer, and I'll pass through A into it. So we've got project name there. There you go, perfect. Sweet. So that's the serializer. So that's how it gets serialized. Now, there's probably other things which I want to actually do in that. In the sense that, so for example, if you request project data, I want to be able to crunch a lot of this, and our project, hang on, sorry, my brain is a bit shut, so give me a couple of seconds as I try and think what I'm saying. There's certain bits of data where it's not actually one table, it's made up of a couple of tables and a couple of fields here and there. And a good example of that is if we get rid of this and we go into, let's say, this particular thing, let's go into network, linked objects. I'm going to create a new link and I'm going to select project. In this sort of case, the response comes back like this, right? But if someone picks something like requirements, it comes back like this. So it's a different shape. And I love the fact that you got little, you've modified the emoji, Ivanhoe. That is awesome. There's also other sorts of stages too. So, for example, if I hit refresh, we've got data that's set up like this. And if I were to hit an API, being like, all right, cool, here's the API, what sort of data can this person have, what groups are assigned, what users are assigned and stuff like that, I kind of want it returning like this too, because if I were to do the API completely, I need it to act in the exact same way that what I built acts. So, yeah. So we've got that, the serializers came through, it looks like that, we're actually really happy with it. So, the JSON renderer, at this point we've translated the model into a Python native data type. So finalize serialization process, we render the data into JSON. So that's just JSON renderer.render. And then serialize the data. That's pretty easy. And then deserializing is similar. First, we pass the stream into Python native data type. So import IO stream.bytes content Data paste, yep, all right, cool. And we restore all those. So using model serializers, our snippet serializer class is replicating a lot of information that's also contained in the snippet tool. It would be nice if we could keep our code a little bit more concise, in the same way that Django provides both form and classes and model form classes. REST framework includes both serializers classes and model serializers classes. Let's take a look at refactoring our serializer using the model serializers class. Open the serializers, yep, Python again, and replace the snippet serializer with the following. All right, cool. That's just like the forms. That's not going to be a problem. One nice property that serializers have is that you can inspect the fields in a serialized instance by printing its representation. Open the Django shell and then try the following, and then print representation. All right, cool. Now that's awesome. So it's showing how it's all set up and stuff like that, which is awesome. It is important to remember model serializers classes don't do anything particular magical. They are simply a shortcut for creating serialized classes and automatic determined set of fields. Simply default implementations to create and update. Yep, all right, cool. Write regular Django views using our serializer. Let's see how we can write some API views using the serializer class. For the moment, we won't use any of the REST framework other features. We just want to write the views as regular Django views. All right, cool. So edit the snippets views. So we've done that. We're importing the serializer into there, and then CSRF exempt. All right. I guess that makes sense because you could be requesting from somewhere else. Yeah. All right. Oh, sorry. So if it's a get snippets equals objects all serialize snippets. Yep. All right. Cool. So it serializes it and it just sends it back. So. All right. Now I need to stand up. Else, if it's a post method, we get the data pass, data in, serialize, data. Yep, all right, cool. If serializes is valid, serialize is saved, so we're saving the data. Return serialized data status 401. All right, cool. Otherwise, serialize errors. All right, cool. So that's pretty stock standard, simple sort of stuff. Note that because we want to be able to post to this view from clients that won't have CRF tokens, we need to mark the view as yeah, which makes sense, and I didn't think about it because a lot of the stuff I do with NearBeach, I'm heavily utilizing the security that's inside it, and hey, that would have made sense if I undid that. This isn't something that you'll normally do, and REST framework views actually use more sensible behavior than this, but it'll do for the purpose right now. All right, cool. Cool, we'll see what they do, and we can see if we can implement that. We also need a view which corresponds to an individual snippet that can be used to retrieve, update, and or delete the snippet. All right, cool. So, snippet details, try snippet. All right, 404. So, yep. So that's a list, and that's the. All right, cool. If I put, yep. All right, cool. Delete. Yep. All right, sweet. So we don't delete. We would update it. Push. Don't tell anyone. First, we need to wire these views up. Create a snippets URL. Yep. Import that in. Snippets IP. Yep. Perfectly. Yep. We also need to wire up the root URL config. So I'm just wondering, because I'm already handling the serialization and all that kind of stuff perfectly fine, and I'm just wondering if I just need to implement the API stuff, the API authentication and stuff like that. So yeah, all right, I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. So let's continue reading this. We also need to wire up the root URL tutorials. Yep. So yep, that's perfectly fine. It is worth noting that there are a couple of edge cases we're not dealing with properly at the moment. If we send malformed JavaScript or a request is made with a method that the view doesn't handle, then we'll end up with a 500 server error response. Still, this is, yep, all right, cool. So we quit the shell, we open up the development server, yep, we run it, and then in another terminal window we can test the server using curl or HTTP. All right, cool. We're not worried about that. So yeah, it's just boom, get that unsorted. There's data. So yeah. In NearBeach, there's a lot of post. Or we can get a particular snippet by referencing its ID. Yep, all right, cool. Where are we now? We're doing okay. We've got serialized API. Feels pretty similar with Django Forms API and some regular Django views. Our API view doesn't do anything particular special at the moment, beyond serving JSON responses, and there's some error handling. All right, cool. Let's see what happens in part 2. So, tutorial requests and responses from this point. Hang on, rewind. From this point, we're going to really start conveying the core REST framework. Let's introduce a couple of essential building blocks. Request objects. Request framework introduces a request object that extends the regular HTTP request and provides more flexible request passing. The core functionality of the request object is request.data attribute, which is similar to the request.post, but more useful for when working with web APIs. All right, cool. Only handles form data, handles arbitrary data, works for post, put, and patch methods. Only works for post, yeah. All right, cool. Response objects. REST framework also introduced a response object, which is template response that takes unrendered content and uses content negotiation to determine the correct content type to return to the client. All right, we up. Status codes. Using numeric HTTP status codes in your view doesn't always make for obvious reading, and it's easier to not notice if you get an error code wrong. REST framework provides more explicit identifiers for each status code, such as HTTP 400 bad request in status module. It's a good idea to use these throughout the tutorial, rather than using numeric identifiers. All right, cool. The REST framework provides 2 wrappers that you can use for API views. At API views, decorator for working with function-based views, API view class for working with class-based views. All right, cool. Now we're using the top one. These wrappers provide a bit of functionality, such as making sure you receive request instances in your view and adding context to response objects, so the content negotiation can be performed. The wrappers also provide such behaviors such as 405 method or allowed response when appropriate, and handling pass errors, exceptions that occur when request.data malform input. All right, so top part's the same, and then we've got the API view, snippet list, lists all the codes. So we've got the get for this particular one, where we get everything, and we've got the request method for this one. So yes. Now, that being said. Yep, I'm fine with that. Our instance view is an improvement over the previous example. It is more concise and the code now feels very similar to if we were working with Forms API. We're also using named status codes, which makes the response meaning more obvious. Here is a view for an individual snippet with a view model. All right, cool. So views.py. So we go through, put, delete. All right, cool. So we try snippet, get all the snippets. Yay, except does not exist. All right. If request method get, we serialize that snippet, so all the objects, stuff like that, and we just return it. Request method dot put serialize, so we put it in where appropriate. Else we delete. All right, cool. This should all feel very familiar. It is not a lot different from working with regular Django views. Notice that we are no longer explicitly trying our requests or responses to give content type. Can handle the incoming JSON request, but also can handle other formats. All right, sweet. Similarly, we're running the response objects with data, but allow REST framework to render the response into correct content types. All right, I'm not fussed with this. Once again, I've got to do the whole entire permissions thing. We've got to make sure that if we're doing an API call, we've got to check that permission. Adding optional formats, suffixes to our URLs to take advantage of the fact that our responses are no longer hardwired to a single content. Let's add support for format suffixes to our API endpoints. Use the format suffixes. It gives us URLs that explicitly refer to a given format and means the API will able to handle URLs such as .json by adding format keyword to both the views like this snippet list format equals none. All right, and then yeah. All right. Ooh, sorry. Oh. We don't necessarily need to add these extra URL patterns in, but it gives us a simple, clean way of referring a specific format. Cool. That might be an idea to use. Yeah, I can see people wanting that. How's it looking? Go ahead and test the API from the command line as we did in the tutorial. Everything's working pretty similar, although we've got a nicer look error handling if we send invalid requests. All right, sweet. We can also get a list of the snippets before. All right. Easy done. We can control the format response we get back by either using the accept header. All right. Or appending the suffix. Neat. Similarly, we can control the format of the requests we are sending using content type headers. Sorry. Cool. If you add debug to the HTTP request above, you'll be able to see the request type in the headers. All right, cool. Browsability, because the API chooses content type of the response based on the client request, it will by default return an HTML formatted representation of the resource when that resource is requested by a web browser. This allows for the API to return a fully web browsable HTML representation. Having a web browser API is a huge usability win and makes developing and using your API much easier. It also dramatically lowers the barrier to entry for other developers wanting to expect your work via API. Yep, which is what we want to kind of do. Yeah, the idea being is we want this to implement this and have people use it, and yeah. The start class-based views and all that kind of stuff. So, tutorial 3, class-based views, rewriting our API using class-based views. We'll start by rewriting the root of, yep, alright, cool. So this is just class-based sort of stuff, snippet list, API. We've got all of that as usual. We've got the post as usual. In here, we've got this, yep, that's a get object, that's a get, that's a put, and that's a delete. Okay, cool. So yeah, it splits those out. Which might help a little now that I think about this. Okay. That's looking good. Again, it's pretty similar to the function based right now. We'll also need to, alright, cool, refactor that. Yeah, and that's where you just use that. Now, how are you guys importing our views? Yep, views. Yep, alright, cool. Using mix-ins, one of the big wins using class-based views is that it allows to easily compose reusable bits of behavior. The create, retrieve, update, delete operations that we've been using so far are going to be pretty similar for any model-based API. Views we create, those bits of common behavior are implemented in the REST framework's mixin class. Let's take a look how we can use views by the mixin class. Here's our views module again. All right, cool. Use generic class-based views. All right. Authentication and permission. This is what I really want to know. And yeah, that's one other thing is getting, let's say, project data. That's perfectly fine. Getting that out is perfectly fine. But then what if the person also needs to get the other art data to any object data? Yeah, well, once again, I'm thinking way too ahead. Currently, our API doesn't have restrictions on who can edit, delete code snippets. We'd like to have some more advanced behavior in order to make sure that code snippets are always associated with the creator. Only authenticated users may create snippets. Only the creator of a snippet may update or delete it. Yep, unauthenticated requests should have full read-only access. Yes. So the thing is, if I do use this, I need to port everything over into it. We've got a lot of the code already. And then passing it into JSON, and then JSON. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yep. No. I think we can. All right. Adding information to our model. We're going to make a couple of changes to our snippets model class. First, let's add a couple of fields. One of those fields will be used to represent the user who created the code snippet. The other field will be used to store the highlighted HTML representation of the code. Add the following two fields to the snippet models.py. So we're adding in the owner and the highlighted. Yep, cool. Easy done. We'd also like to make sure that when the model is saved, that we populate the highlighted field using yep, pigment code highlighting. We'll need some extra imports, so just import all of that. And now when we edit the save method to our model class, so the save, so Lexa, get Lexa by name, language, all right, cool. So the self highlighted equals highlighted self code, Lexa and formatter, and then we've got the super, which dot save to arguments. Yep, all right, cool. Yeah. When that's all done, we'll need to update our database tables. Normally, we'll create a database migration in order to do that. But for the purpose of this tutorial, let's just delete the database and start again. All right, cool. And then just create the super user, adding an endpoint, adding endpoints for our user models. Now that we've got some users to work with, we better add representation of those users to our API. Creating a new serializer is easy. It serializes add, and then we add in user serializer. All right, cool. Yep, that gets all added in. Everyone's pretty happy with that. Because snippets is a reverse relationship on the user model, it'll not be included by default when using the model serializer class, so we need to add it explicitly, add an explicit field for it. We'll also add a couple of views to the views.py. We like to just use read-only views for the user representation, so we will use the list API views and the retrieve API view generic class. All right, cool. So that's changes done. Associating snippets with users. Right now, if we create a code snippet, there'll be no way of associating the user that created the code snippet with the snippet instance. The user isn't sent as part of the serializer's representations, but instead property of the incoming request. The way we deal with that is by overriding the perform create method on our snippet views. That allows us to modify how the instance save is managed and handle any information that is implicit in the incoming request or requested URL. All right, cool. On the snippet list, we got the following: perform and create. All right, cool. Serializer, save, owner. Yep. All right. Updating our serializers. Owner, serialize, read-only field, source, owner.username. All right, cool. Make sure you also add the .owner to the list of the fields in the meta class. Yes. Yep. The fields is doing something quite interesting. The source. All right, cool. Adding required permissions to views. Note that the code snippets are associated with users. We want to make sure that only authenticated users are able to create, update, and delete code snippets. Our REST framework includes a number of permission classes that we can use to restrict who can gain access to a given view. In this case, the one who we're looking for is authenticated or read-only, which will ensure that authenticated requests get read-write access and unauthenticated requests get read-only access. First add the following import into the view module. So from REST framework and permissions, and then we add the following both to the snippet list and the snippet detail view classes. So we got permissions, classes equals permissions is authenticated or read-only. All right, cool. Adding login to the browsable API. If you open a browser and navigate to the browsable API at the moment, you'll find you're no longer able to create new code snippet. In order to do so, we'll need to be able to create to log in as the user. We can add a login view for use with a browsable API by editing the URL config to in our project level URL file. All right, cool. Include, yep. Cool. The API auth part of the pattern can actually be whatever URL. Yep. All right. Now, if you open up your browser again and refresh the page, you'll see login link at the top. Yep. All right. Cool. Cool. Object permissions. All right. Really, we liked all code snippets to be visible to anyone, but make sure that only the user can create the code snippet is able to update and delete it. To do this, we need to, yep, all right, cool. Permissions. All right, that goes through that. Now, this is where I'm a little confused how I would actually implement this. So, yeah. Now we can add that custom permission to our code snippet. Editing, yep, alright, cool. authenticating with the API because we, all right. I'm just gonna go for part 5. Yeah. View sets and routers. Refactoring to use view sets. Let's take our current set of views and refactor them into, first of all, those particular views. Well, we can remove. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. I am now getting very, very confused. I don't know if anyone could tell. I'm actually falling asleep. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to end it there. I know this is a short stream. I'm absolutely and utterly zonked out. I didn't get much sleep last night. The Privagen is going. Twitch chat controls Devon. No signal. All right. I've been meaning to raid Avocado Violet for a little while, so we'll raid Avocado Violet. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for coming tonight. Yeah, I'm super tired. I don't know if you guys can actually tell with how I'm reading that. It was not good. I am off to bed straight away, so yeah. Thank you very much everyone for being here, and I shall see you hopefully on Friday when I've had a good night's sleep. So yeah, thank you very much.